What is up? It's a Figure Hunter, and today we have a special review for the Velites Quad Ultra brand new hand grips that are yet to even hit the market. So we're gonna look at these. This is a new Kickstarter company. We're gonna just look at a hands-on tonight, even get crazy and do a box opening because I've never done one of those before because I don't really love those, but just because it's a company that's not currently actively distributing to the United States, this is a Kickstarter campaign and they're finally in production. I wanted to show you what comes in a typical box. We're going to look at that. We're going to look at the, basically the hand wraps or the protective, the little baggie. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing for more. These are the Velites Quad Ultra hand grips. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at them in great detail because they are a brand new manufactured product on the market today for hand wraps. They, very much compare or could compare to the no-hole grips, the Bear Komplex that I've been using for a while. But there's some unique feature designs that are built into this. They actually have an app and you could actually register for a training program if you want to work on your gymnastics. One of the things that's been most interesting since I purchased it as a quick Kickstarter in December of 2021, so rewind 8 months, is since that time the manufacturer, the owner of the company, has sent out 21 email updates with each step along the way. And I've really been impressed because they got their initial prototypes in and they felt like the quality just wasn't perfect enough, both on the inner layer and the outer grip layer. And so they went back into production and re-released a whole new version. They had it completely athlete tested with an Olympian gymnast, and they took it through a bunch of different tests with different types of athletes just to make sure that the final product is a perfect one. So one of the things I really appreciate so far is that there's a lot of time and energy that went into developing this to make it an excellent product. Now, what we have yet to see is this an excellent product or not? I will say, looking at the design, we'll look at it hands-on in a second, it is an excellent product in concept, but we're going to take it through the test in a number of weeks, and I'm going to share in the summary of this video what my initial feeling and thoughts are. So with that, let's dive into the unboxing, let's dive into the website, let's dive into the hands-on and a full comparison to the Bear Komplex grips, and we will go from there.
Right, so here's the website for the Velites, and they have a bunch of different, they have ropes, they have hand grips, but this is like the premier thing that they're obviously advertising now is the new Quad Ultra, which professes no chalk needed. You see it with the hand straps underneath, and this is no, I said there's other weighted ropes you can find. So the full list, the full spectrum of what you get, this is what we're going to look at in just a second. But right now it's been listed for $50 for sale, which is, I think, a great deal considering everything. But you can see all the different aspects that it talks about are the featured set on the grips themselves. And if you go back, you can see they offer a bunch of different things. They have a specialty rope, a speed rope, natural hand care, and a full list of hand grips. They have full spectrum of hand grips, the quad carbon hand grips, but you have the Quad Ultra in the middle bottom.
All right, so here's the Velites Quad Ultra hand grips. I have never done a unboxing video, so we're gonna do that for the first time ever now because this is a brand new company and a brand new design and all of that stuff. So we'll try to get as much value out of the unveiling of the new hand, which they say needs no chalk. So here's what you get inside. If I can get this to not be in the way. So, little Quad Ultra booklet, which includes just some basics for how it works, all the different pieces to it. I really do like that it's got a thick band. We'll look at that in a second. All right, the wristband. So this came included with the supporter package because I bought this on, yeah, I'm gonna have to do something about that. There we go. So wristbands. So it comes with wristbands that will help keep hand grip. Where in addition comes with this nifty little bag if you want to keep it and clip it to the side of your gym bag. And then here are they themselves. Get this piece of junk out of here. And here they are. So that's what comes inside. All right, so here we have them in their glory. So these are the hand grips. We'll look at those more in a second. Mine came with these wrist sleeves. So the wrist sleeves help with the grip strength overall. It's just basically a sock, but it also helps with when you have it underneath the hand grip to provide comfort and cushion so that you're not having a more severe pull in one central section. This is the handbag that comes with it. Basically just covers, basically claps on the outside of your bag. It's a nice quality. It's actually pretty thick and pretty legitimate. So in looking at the sleeves themselves, so one thing I really do like is I like this strap system. It's a large, wider buckle. When you compare it to like the Bear Komplex, and we're going to look at a lot compared to the Bear Komplex in a second, it's a thinner, more narrow buckle, so this puts more pressure and more pull on your wrist when it's strapped down. When you know, it's got a lot of room here because they wanted to make it have plenty of room so that if you were wearing wrist wraps, full wrist wraps underneath your hand grips, you basically had a lot of space to stretch it out. But it's actually really easy to get on and off. If you ever have messed with a strap like this where you have to weave it and you can't quite keep it in place, and you have to reweave every time you go to put on your hand grips, it's actually a pain in the butt if you are looking to change them mid-workout or change them mid-metcon. So this actually has so much space that you can get your hand in it when you're actually in the middle of the workout. So if we take it and we open it up just so you can see the cloth interior, this whole inside, and this is a big design feature, this whole inside is like a cloth feeling. It's suede, I believe is what the actual design is, but it feels a lot softer. So I have two different Bear Komplex. So this is the Bear Komplex 3-hole that I've been using. I don't typically put my fingers in the holes, I just sort of flap it up over the bar. And as I've worn down over time, this is very abrasive. This just raw piece of leather, this is what is scratching the inside. So my gym, super hot, super humid, and so this makes a big difference. I will actually wear blisters on the inside. If you take it and you say, okay, well that's just a used one, you take the new one, this is a little bit softer, so it starts off softer, so we'll see how the suede maybe becomes more abrasive over time. But in general, at first feel, this is a much softer, cushiony start to the whole spectrum, and it's across the whole piece down below. Now, if you compare it to a traditional Bear Komplex, this has got sort of a cushiony foam on the inside. So, but I do also like that it's just a wider grip if you're comparing it for how much pressure is going to be on your wrist if your whole body weight is hanging there. Now, let's go to the more important part, which is the exterior. So the exterior is a rubberized specialty exterior that they developed over a number of tests and trials. You can see the little left there to determine which wrist it's supposed to go on. But you know, when you compare it to, again, very used Bear Komplex, I think this is the diamond, whatever the green relates to. It's still got some grip, but it's nowhere near the level of grip. This is like a rubberized texture grip, and this is still has some grip to it, but just not as much. So we'll see how it does over time. And if you say, well, you know, this one is just sort of worn down on the Bear Komplex, if you take no, actually this has got to be their diamond because it looks like a bunch of diamonds. If you take this is out of the gate, this is going to need a lot of chalk or a lot of breaking in, because this feels smooth when you compare it to this grippy sort of texture on the exterior. So this is their no holes version of their hand grips, and so it, you know, out of the gate, this one's winning. Out of the gate, the Velites Quad Ultra is a much better, just straight, you know, check. Now, in the first few tests I've had, this actually holds really well. And something else that's a unique feature design is they wrap it around the edge. So here you just have a clean piece of leather. Here you wrapped over the edges so that when you go to strap over the bar, you actually have a little bit of a bump on the backside, which would cause you to be able to hold a little bit more grip. Whereas you think, obviously, if you're just gripping around here, you've got no extra hold on the backside of it on the other side of the bar. So this is actually a design feature that we'll just have to keep an eye on to see if it actually does exactly that. So a grip over the edge. One thing I will say is these are thicker because there's this whole interior of suede and this exterior of fabric here. If you were to just check the thickness, 2.6, and if you were to compare that to these brand new no holes, 2.1, so 0.5 millimeters thicker. I'll put in the bottom here what the actual percentage difference is. So this is a thinner fabric. So this extra cushiony backing and the extra thick exterior is giving you more grip. And if you've ever had a hand grip, I know a lot of the women in my class say that it's harder to use because it just feels too thick, like if you have a smaller hand. So we'll have to test this over time. Now, in first testing, in the initial comparison of all this, I do believe I ordered the wrong size. So I mismeasured my wrist to forefinger. You're supposed to measure from the cut here to the middle of this finger, and I did something wrong and undermeasured it. So I've got the largest, but the largest are not large enough. And if you look at them side by side with the straight no holes off of, then you just get a little bit of a fabric difference. It really lines up to about 1/4 of an inch. Now, when you have this large bump up here, 1/4 of an inch is a big difference. So in order for me to make use of the full flap over the bar, I need this big bump area to be probably on the exterior of this exact length, so up here somewhere. So right now I'm having a little bit of hard time putting them to use. I have to pull them further up my wrist in order to get fully around the bar where I feel like I have a good grip. So that's a problem that I'm hoping customer service can help me to deal with because it's an error on my part. So let's look at how they look on the wrist. All right, so this is the full with the hand sleeve underneath. I've just crimped it all together and I pulled it a little bit further up so you could sort of see the distance. If you look at the distance, it's coming short of the knuckles here, which is actually probably what I'm feeling, that's part of the problem. This bar here should probably come up to just past the knuckles for it to properly catch the bar, because if I come over here, I've got too much fingertip showing over the edge. It should be hanging more down here. So really hoping that I can get some help to rectify it, but this is actually how it looks. The first time I've used a wrist sleeve underneath a wrist wrap. This can strap down super tight. I really do love the way it feels compared to the Bear Komplex. The Bear Komplex doesn't strap down quite as smoothly. It's a little bit rougher of a strap down process, and I'll show you that in 1 second with how it looks. But just remember how this looks on my hand relative to what we're going to see with the no hole in the Bear Komplex. Okay, so this is the no hole on the Bear Komplex. You can see it comes up a little bit further, but because there's not that raised edge on the edge, then you make full use of the fabric a little bit more easily. It is, literally about 1/4 inch further down my hand, which makes it a little bit easier just to flap over the bar. And because there's not that raised edge, you just use the whole fabric because you can kind of curl it yourself, which is not pushing your fingers out. So that is the comparison of what it looks like on my wrist with just the Bear Komplex no hole. So all in all, I think the quality is really high quality. I mean, I think for $50, if that's what they're offering it for now, I'm not sure when they're manufacturing. I do think this edge, if I get the right length, is going to be actually really useful. And the fact that they wrap the grip around the top so that when your fingers come around, you're feeling grip here as well as against the bar itself, I think is fantastic for a really hot, sweaty gym. I think this inner layer of soft suede, as long as it doesn't get hard and pilly over time, is going to work really well, and that the thick wrist straps coupled with the wrist sleeves makes for a ton more comfortable experience in my initial testing. Let's talk about it in summary. Now, what do I think in summary initially? This is just the initial test. And initially, this is it's a high quality, well manufactured, hand grip. I will say that the grip on the exterior, we're going to see how long it holds up over a number of tests or a series of weeks, but the exterior is the grippiest I have ever tested on any of the hand grips I've tested, and I've tested maybe 6 different versions from different manufacturers. More important to me at this point in time is I work out in a box that doesn't have full air conditioning, and so it is hot and humid here in North Carolina, and even with hand grips, I am still wearing calluses or wearing blisters on the inside underneath the hand grips because everything is so humid that the whole layer of skin, because the leather gets a little bit abrasive on the Bear Komplex. I mean, you could feel it. It feels abrasive right here. it's wearing a hole, wearing into my skin, and this has a soft interior, which is genius. I think this is a great feature design aspect, plus the little lip around the top edge, plus the grip, plus the larger width in the wrist wrap section itself makes for a well-designed product. Now, what are the cons so far? Now, obviously, I ordered probably the wrong size, and I'm just hoping and praying that customer service will honor and somehow get a better sized version of this, because it needs to be a little bit longer for my hand. But right now it does still feel a little bit thick, as we saw in the video. In the size comparison, it's thicker, you know, by a felt margin. When you go up to grab and flap it around the bar, it's thicker, so you have to actually apply a little more hand strength. Now, if I get the longer version, I might not notice it as much. Just the sheer grippiness of the grips themselves might just hold. If I could just hold just like that, it doesn't have, you can hold like that and it still just grips it just fine. But overall, my first test, it is very grippy. The wrist strap section, because it is larger, feels very comfortable. It feels actually more supportive, as well as just easier just to functionally make use of. So with that, that's the initial review of the Velites Quad Ultra hand grips. Stay tuned for more. It's the Fit Gear Hunter.